next session, which is Understanding the Labour Force, which will take us deeper into understanding Sri Lanka's workforce, which our speaker we have today is Dr. Chandani Wijebandara, Director at the Department of Census and Statistics, will present an exploration of the country's workforce dynamics, providing valuable insights into the current trends of employment, unemployment, and labor force participation in Sri Lanka. If we could all give a warm applause to welcome Dr. Chandani Wijebandara onto the stage.
Thank you, Advocata, and thank you very much giving DCS, the Department of Census and Statistics, to provide our statistics among you. Most of the discussions we did earlier, we discussed many things about the labor force, so I'll be showing you some of the official statistics that we have, which you can use for your policy-making activities. So for this one, actually, I'm using some of the historical and the literature information, and all the statistics that I'm presenting here is from our labor force survey. For that, I'll be using the concepts, because it's very important to understand the statistics, the way that we get the data, how we get the data, and what are the concepts behind that. That will be important, so I'll be discussing these. I'm using one of the prominent scholar, economist Stiglitz, 2002, he mentioned that labor markets are not perfectly competitive, and it has multidimensional nature. Therefore, the graph that I'm showing here is from a labor for ILO graph, which shows you the very simplified diagram, the connection between the households and the establishments with respect to the labor force and how it flows between the markets. And when it says that labor market is multidimensional, we have to pay our attention to labor market segmentation, information asymmetric, and role of institution and human capital development conditions. Especially having a very good understanding about on labor markets especially through Stiglitz, his assumptions and his paper, it helps us policymakers to develop target-oriented interventions, go beyond simple supply and demand mechanisms to understand the inequality, inefficiency, and insecurity of the labor market. So I'll just for that one, usually labor statistics that we demand, that we are working with, it's a part of official statistics which Department of Census and Statistics has to provide. And we collect, organize, and we provide these statistics in order to make policy decisions considering these correct statistics. There are two sides, labor demand statistics and labor supply statistics. And also we consider employment, unemployment, and many information regarding this labor statistics. Especially here, I'll be focusing only the labor supply side, labor force. When it comes to labor force, first we need to understand what is labor force. Labor force is the concept that we see. It consists with employed plus unemployed population. Labor force is the employed plus unemployed population who are in the working age population. Who are employed? Employed are as Professor said, when we conduct a survey, population to cover the total population of the country, there are different concepts to identify the labor force and the employment. Employment comes with the if I say very shortly, we consider a criteria called usual and current concepts. Here we ask, during the reference period, 1 week short reference period, if you have engaged in 1 hour, at least in an economic activity, at least in 1 hour, we identify them as employed. And when we move into the unemployment, I will discuss in detail. The unemployment is different from the employment because it has 3 criteria. Those who are not working in the reference work, they have to search for job and they need to be available for that. That means 3 criteria should be identified to identify unemployment. To collect all this information, DCS conducts a survey which called the Labor Force Survey. It conducts annually, spanning up to all 12 months in order to capture the time-related employment, because you know that labor, when we come to employment, there are 2 different reasons. Seasonality, due to the seasonality effects, the employment is, the activities of the employment is different. Therefore, we conduct our survey in all year or in all 12 months. For that, we use 25,000 housing units, and the sample procedure is to use a multi-stage stratified sampling method, and which has been conducted from 1990 onwards. And if you are interested, you all can have this time series data from the department for any of the policy making data analysis purposes. When we come to the statistics, I used 2023 the statistics from the labor force survey, which we conduct in 2023. Our working age populations, this is very important. There should be a cutoff for the working age population. For Sri Lanka, 15 years and above population is considered as the working age population. We don't have upper age limit. Because it's important, because some countries, when they define the working age population, they have lower and upper age limits. But for Sri Lanka, we don't have upper age limit. And the working age population, then we divide into 2 categories: economically active population and inactive population. The active population is the population who are identified as employed and unemployed. So when we all talk about the labor force participation, what we do is we take the number of the employed plus unemployed, divide that by the working age population, then we give the labor force participation. Actually, that is 48.6 for the 2023, and when we compare male and female, we find that 68.6% for the male, while it is 31.3 for the female, where we all discuss lower female labor force participation. Right. For all those who are below the age 15, we don't use to calculate labor statistics. The economically inactive group means those who are in working age population, but they are not working or they are not searching for jobs. This is very important. This graph shows you, the table gives you 2 information very clearly, how the male and female populations by age group, they contribute to the labor force. You can see even like 35 to 54, which we can consider is a very the most efficient group, still we find that only 44% of the females are participating in the labor force. And as you know, that 15 to 24 is the group. Majority of them are at school or in university students, so that may be. But still they are, while 31% of them, the males are engaging in labor force, only 16.9%. But one just go to the other graph there. I'm showing, this is very important. As you see, once we, the left side, the pink side and the blue side from female and male, when we go up with the higher level of education, you can see the gap of labor force participation disappears. It shows you that when the male or female is having degree or above level of education, 80.6% of female are in labor force. That is for male, it is 81.8. So when you see that, the effect of education, but see, even they have level of education A levels, that gap is still there. So when you see this picture, you can see the opportunities that the women have to enter some occupation and the other works that they have at home. They have to weigh and see what is best, and they have to decide whether I'm working or whether I stay at home. With this table, this gives you a clear picture why women are not in labor force. They say, we ask the reason for not engaging in an economic activity. You all can see the age groups and the reasons for not engaging in economic activities. Take that 15 to 24 age group. Like when the male explains why they are not engaged in economic activity, most of the, they say, it's like they are in education. While that, for the female, it's same. Like not so different. There is no big gap. But just say the engage in housework in all age groups. Female say that because of their engaging in housework, they don't want to work. So something like that. But the thing is, this may not be the real situation. Like if a woman has to go for the labor force, they have to think a lot of things, how to take care of their children, how to, like, you know, the schooling age, like children, what is the time of our, ending time of our school? It's 1:30. If a mother has to take care of their children, how to get them at home when they are not there at home, how to tackle this situation. So all these things are there when a mother wants to decide to enter the labor force. This, like if someone is interested in these things, like we all have this data with us to analyze, right? Especially I have put some of the information like cultural norms, childcare and family responsibilities, skill gaps, and also economic constraints and job opportunities. These are also there, like shocks, economic shocks. Last time when we see the labor force statistics after the COVID, we find that many of the women who have been engaged in household economic activities, like as contributing family workers, they lost their economic activity. Because when a man, when they lost economic activity at home, home-based economic activity, they can go searching for another job to elsewhere. But what happens to a woman, once the housing activity, economic activity, they lost due to any economic shock or COVID or anything, they can't move outside the housing unit. So this will directly affect their labor force participation. Let's go to the employed population. As I think some of the previous presenters showed, the services sector, employment is highest in the services sector, but still this 26% of the agriculture. This percentage hasn't been changed for a decade or more than 10 or 12 years. This is like the service sector is increasing very slowly, but still This is the percentage, and you know this agriculture sector is, majority of the agriculture sector in Sri Lanka is in informal sector, while the services also we can see from the data. Unemployment. Unemployment is the one that we decide if a person has not engaged in an economic activity during at least 1 hour during the reference period. We ask 3 questions. Do you have, if the person is not working, we ask, have you taken any steps during past month to find a job? If the person says yes or no, then we ask another question. If you are given a job during next 2 weeks, are you willing to get the job? So if a person is not working and he has been actively searching for work and he is willing to take the job within next 2 weeks, then they will be identified as unemployed. All other, if only, not only seeking, if they don't willing to get the job within next 2 weeks, they will not be identified as unemployed, but they will be identified as potential labor force, but they are not as identified. Once we consider that criteria, our unemployment rate is only for, like we give, it's a 4.7, but we see that male unemployment rate, they are also high, and it's very important that among the educated, female unemployment is about 10.2%. Right. This is again important that when it comes to those who are willing to get the job, those who are searching, that is also among women, this is very important to highlight, because when they want to join, they have maybe this is because they don't have much opportunities in the market. Then again, I'm focusing on the NEET. NEET are the youths who are not in education, employment, or training. Very important indicator, because we consider youths as those who are in age 15 to 24. In Sri Lanka, you know, this group usually at least they should be in education, employment, or training. There are youths who are not in education, not in employment, and not in training. So if I say like in a other way, they will be a social issue for the country if we don't find and address them. Because it may occur, because high need rates are a huge issue for a country, because it can happen due to reasons due to youth employability issues, and due to economic growth issues, and when they don't have enough opportunities for them to join, and also that will affect the social stability. Then visible unemployment. The employed, I think in Sri Lanka, unemployment is not only the case that we have to consider underemployment, visible, the informal sector, and all these are very important, because underutilization of the working population gives you, by these statistics, visible unemployment. Visible unemployment is the one that gives you, when a person is employed, if the person, we ask what is the time, how many hours he has been working. If a person works less than a threshold hours, we ask whether you like to work more hours. Then, if they say yes, then we identify that person is underemployed with respect to hours of work. Then it is like, you know, that we lost a lot of hours, man hours for the economy, because they don't have, they are not doing their maximum for the economy. So that statistics gives you, like the graph shows you where the high underemployment is reported, and we see that some of the highly agricultural areas, the underemployment is higher. Informal sector employment. Many of the presenters discuss about this. In Sri Lanka, you can see from the statistics about 58% of the employment, they engage in informal sector activities. Okay, what is informal sector? In Sri Lanka, the criteria we decide informal sector is, we check whether the person's institute that is working, whether it is registered and whether the institute is keeping formal accounts, auditable accounts, and what is the number of regular employment. If the regular employment is 10 or above, we consider that as an formal institute. If the institute keeps formal accounts, then we consider that as again formal, and also if it registered under the Indian Revenue Law, because for any statistics, we have to get the information from the person to decide whether he or she is working in the formal or informal sector. Then we have to ask from the person who is working, your working institute, whether these qualities are there. Once we see that, about 58% of the population working employed are in informal sector. You all know that for most of the women who are working, they engage in informal sector activities because it's flexible. It has flexibility over time and how they can arrange their own account activities, and all these will be in informal sector. From the percentage, what happens here? Many think that female are the highest, when we consider who among the employed, female percentage is high. But here, from the statistics we see, 62% of the employed males are in informal sector. As I think previous presenters give you, many of the activities in informal sector like trade, retail activities, these male engage in this sector. While the formal sector educated females more prone to engage in formal sector activities, and many of the females who engage in informal sector activities, we found that they work as contributing family workers in on-account activities. So it's true that the agriculture sector is, majority of the agriculture sector is in informal sector, and half of the non-agriculture sector is about in informal sector. The thing again is, informal sector is again heterogeneous, and if we think that always the informal sector is inferior, we will be in huge trouble, because I have seen that my study, because it's like, here I have presented all the official statistics, but when I see my study, I found that there are 5 or more latent segments within the informal sector, and different mediation will be needed for upgrading the sector to be more efficient and more, more safe for the employment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wijebandara, for that very thought-provoking discussion on Sri Lanka's workforce.